to the April meeting of Delta Amateur Radio Club. Before we get going, I would just like to remind everyone that if you are here, don't forget today. Can you hear me now? All right. Don't forget today before you leave, because we will have a break or after the meeting, to sign in on the roster or on our guest sheet if you have not done so. And then, of course, even if you're a guest that you are here tonight, fill out one ticket, anybody, members and guests, and put it in that bucket. And at the end of the year, our November meeting, we'll have some drawings for some cool prizes and everything. So you don't have to be a member to fill that out. Of course, if you're not a member, I'd encourage you to come see Mr. Jim up here. Fill out an application. It's a mere $20 for the whole year for your dues. So, and of course, during the meeting, and you don't have to be a member to enjoy this. We've got drinks and snacks and everything up here that Scott has worked so hard to gather and set up. So, with that, let's do introductions. So we'll start on this end, and if everyone could say their name and call sign.
Bob Nolan, K4KWR.
Ned, KA4BLL.
Phil, KC5UNU.
Joe, WA4OVO.
Scott, KM4PMU.
Larry, AK4SC.
Randall, KY4MY.
Aaron, KD5SFF.
Will, KO4TLY.
John, KO4ZQS.
Dana, WI3B.
James, KQ4TTX.
Mike, KQ4FMB.
I'm Brian.
KQ4GGX is followed.
Bill, KK4VPS.
Ham, W4GMM.
Steve, KK4VPT.
Jonathan, KO4WAQ.
Joe, KO4WAR.
Ray, AA4UK.
Bob, KO4 to ZCJ.
Dan, N9PNA.
Jeff, KX4 Alpha.
Dan, KN4FBJ.
Janet, KN4FBI.
Jerry, KF4LDY.
Harry 1, WP4SWK. Pat, W4OQG.
Rick, N0, KYN.
Tom, AC5MO.
Barry, whatever number I am this week. W5CJ.
Repeater's working. You're back to 1A.
Richard, K4DXF.
Joe, KG4CZH.
Rick, WA4NB.
Harry, November 4, Golf Juliet. Jim, KD4FUU.
Paul, KY4MX.
Mike, KM4MRW.
We had a latecomer. What's your name?
Randy, Conrad. It was N5PPL.
And Mary Jean, KY4FB. So again, welcome everybody. Just a few announcements. Reminder that, well, this is not a reminder. So Steve Frazier, I'm going to go without a mic and just use my outside voice. All right, so Steve Frazier looked up the MS-150. The MS-150 is the 2-day bike ride that we assist with typically I think in September.
Second weekend.
The second weekend in September, and it was not listed on the website. So we think from what we're hearing that they may not offer that race again this year. So that's just something to keep in mind. As we find out more information, we'll certainly let you guys know. But if you are making plans around that, you might want to consider that they may not have that race this year. So again, as soon as we know more, we will let you know. And Joe, would you like to give the VE update?
Yeah, we had two people with us, Phil Baker, KC5UVU, and Gerald Linsky, KF4LDY, upgraded from Tech to General.
All right. Do you training and Huntsville?
Training, we had three people take their tech and pass. I don't believe any of the three are here tonight. The next training session will probably will be a tech class starting the first week or so in July, getting finished before the Huntsville Ham Fest. Then on testing at Free Fest, we had 10 people test. We got 9 passed. 2, Tom, help me out. How many youngsters? There were 2 youngsters or 3?
2, I think.
2 youngsters that were associated with Errol Hook's son's Boy Scout troop. So they got their technician. 1 person grandfathered to general since he had a lapsed general. He took technician and got general. And there were 2 other generals. All the ones that passed were tech or general. So that was a good session Saturday. The 2 youngsters that passed, for you that don't know, if somebody is 18 and under and it's tested with ARRL, they pay $5 for the test session instead of $15. And when they pay their $35 administrative fee, ARRL will reimburse the person that paid the $35 administrative fee. So that's trying to get youngsters into ARRL. What else? You want to go on?
Huntsville.
Huntsville. I've looked at budget. The bus is $337 more than last year. We only had 28 people last year that actually signed up, I believe. The budget's for 30, so if you divide 337 by 30 people, that's about $10 a person. It's looking like the fare will be $99 this coming year. But it includes the transportation, breakfast biscuits, water, sodas, cookies, and crackers going down. This year, I hate to see what the concession stand charges are going to be for a Coke and hot dog or hamburger. I'm sure the concession just for a Coke is going to be $3.50 or $4. So you can come back to the bus and get drinks, Cokes or water or whatever in that fee. There could be a question: do we only want to go with 1 biscuit instead of 2 biscuits? That'll cut out $3 at least. But that's the drinks. Coke last year was like $11 a case for 35 at Costco, and it was $16.98 the other day when I bought a case of Diet Coke. So everything is going up. But anyway, with that price, how many people think they would be going on the bus?
But that does include admission into
It includes admission into the Ham Fest.
Raise your hands high so I can count them if you don't mind.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Got 13 is all. I don't know. We're going to need 30 people to make it worthwhile, or else the club's going to take a big hit. One of the things is if you can talk your fellow hams or non-hams even into going, we can possibly have a rebate on some funds if we get up to 38 people. That way, it could possibly be a $10, $5 or $10 refund. And what we do is refund it on the bus, and that way you got some spending money at the Ham Fest.
$5 at Handfest won't go very far.
No, it's better than nothing, though. It'll get you a Coke, probably. But that's what the issues are right now with the bus. And I did not look at another bus companies, but in the last 5-7 years, I've looked at other bus companies, and they were more expensive, and they had more stringent rules that we would not want to live by. I mean, like no food on the bus and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, it's something, I did the math too, so like decent gas mileage with a vehicle, you're probably going to spend at least $56 or $60, and that's assuming that something doesn't go on in the world between now and then that's going to skyrocket gas even higher. So, I mean, if you were going by yourself down there, you're going to probably drop easily 50 or 60 for gas alone. And then, of course, the $15 admission fee and snacks, and so
Parking.
you might be parking, pay to park. So you might be paying a little extra going on the bus, but you're not having to drive the 3.5 hours down there, 3.5 back. And you get to hang out with your friends on the trip. That's probably my favorite part. It's not necessarily what I get to see at the Ham Fest, but it's to talk to folks on the bus on the way down and back. So, yeah, I mean, we would need a decent amount of people to sign up for this if we want to have it. Because like you said, if not, we take a big hit. That'd probably be a little bit too much of a hit for us to offset. So, talk it up and
we'll have something in May about it. Okay. Free Fest, we did pretty well, about $2,500 on equipment sales. So that between that and I had advertised some equipment on the NAQCC website and sold $150 worth of equipment. 2 kits that Karen Chancellor had. Most of her stuff was low power equipment and also kits. So I advertised it on the NAQCC website. I've gotten several items sold that way. But all right, I think that's.
Speaking of Free Fest, Rick, do we have any total numbers for Free Fest on how
I'm not looking at numbers in my head, but it's at least 58, maybe 61 plus.
100,000? Okay.
Yeah.
$6,500.
Well, then there's a match, right?
Oh, okay.
Well, it
The
could-
bonder will actually, if you put it into their certain fund, then Methodist will match it, and so it could be a $12,000 donation by merit.
That's awesome.
Hey, Rick, did we cover, the kitchen cover
The kitchen number is 1,300 something, which is 1,500 rent in the building, so 100 and something bucks on this shy end. I think it was 200 in the whole last year's. So what?
Yeah, y'all didn't eat enough. That's what pays for the room.
Yeah, with that $7 combo meal, sure beats Huntsville you talking about.
I tried to get Ham Hilliard to eat more, but he said no.
Hey, I did my part.
Tom ate 2 combos, right?
He stopped at 16, I don't know why.
I don't want another hot dog for a while.
Well, that's great news to hear about that amount raised for LaVonner. Thank you to everybody who bought a ticket, who took the time to help with the event, set up, work the different vendor tables, work in the kitchen, things like that. So all that makes a difference. And and everything, and that was for a good cause. And it was good to see everybody too, walking up. And I know some of you guys did make frequent visits back to the kitchen to get something to eat, and you certainly carried your weight there. But hey, it all worked out. Oh, not that. But it was for a good cause and everything. So race.
It was 5810.
5810 is the amount. So that's awesome, especially if it'll be doubled. So good deal. All right, so this is kind of timely. So of course, thank you to everybody who showed up for the Skywarn training that we had at the end of March. There was, I think, at least 60 people who showed up for the training, and they had anybody with a ham radio license to raise their hand, and probably a good 75% to 90% of the folks in that room raised their hands for that. So it was really cool to see how that many ham radio operators and other community members came together to take that Skywarn training. And of course, a couple days later, we had the tornadoes come through all over the Mid-South on that Friday, March 31st, and I know that the Skywarn, or the NWS DMR Talk group went live, and they were on air for a long time, rotating out with net control operators. But since we've got Phil, KC5UNU here, he was going to kind of give us just a little bit more information about National Weather Service. And Phil, if you kind of do a little brief intro of kind of what you do for them.
Yeah, my name's Phil Baker, KC5UNU. I've been at the Weather Service here in Memphis since 2006, and I was here back on March 14th, I guess, 2 weeks before the Skywarn training here, and it's been quite a last several weeks. In the past 2 weeks, we've had 20 tornadoes in the Memphis service area. So we've got 55 counties that we're responsible for around the Mid-South. And to get that concentration of tornadoes and that strong of tornadoes, it's kind of unusual. So y'all remember we were at a high risk on the 31st. So those are pretty rare. We'll go for a few years without being at a high risk. And the amount of tornadoes that we had was, every 7, 8, 9, 10 years, wouldn't go without hitting that kind of event like we had. It's been quite a, spring for us. We've had some facility issues at the Agri Center where we had to, for the first time since 1985, we vacated the building for a solid 2 weeks. And we worked remote out of Nashville, out of NWS Little Rock, and from our homes here in Memphis, pulling a midnight shift in my own home. That was kind of a new experience for me. We had to get out of there. We had some critters in the ceiling, and they left behind some stuff that they determined wasn't safe for us to work under. So they got all that cleaned out, and we had severe weather. I had to work a midnight shift in Nashville, kind of over in the corner of their operations area, and issue tornado warnings for North Mississippi. And y'all may remember that event. That's when we had the really high winds go through. I think Crossville had 77 mile per hour gusts up there by Fort Campbell. So even without the thunderstorms, we had a lot of high winds, a lot of downed trees, and that was before the last 2 weeks that preceded those events. So we had just running some numbers, we had 14 tornadoes on the March 31st and April 1st event. 3 of those tornadoes were EF3. Those are high-end EF3s. That was Wynne, Arkansas, Covington, Tennessee, and Selmer, McNairy, and Hardin County. So those are the 3 areas that are most hardest hit. And all this is from our website. I apologize. I wasn't, going to give a presentation today, but I'm happy to talk about it. Let's see, some of the statistics that stood out to me. The Wynne tornado, the track on that was 73 miles long. So when we get these high-risk days, that's kind of what we're one of the things that goes into the Storm Prediction Center's, calculation of what the risk level is what's the likelihood of these tornadoes becoming long-tracked and long-lived. And it certainly was the case, on the 31st. The Wynn, Arkansas tornado was 73 miles long. At its widest point, 1,600 yards. So I don't know how that works out to, relation to a mile.
Close to it, 5,000.
Yeah.
4,800 versus
1,700 yards, about 1,700 yards is a mile.
Yeah.
1,760 if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
We, in the Covington tornado, get ready for this, 2,000 yards maximum width.
1.13 miles, I think is what it comes
Yeah,
up to.
that was on the ground for 39.53 miles, so 40 miles. So all these storms were surveyed on the ground, so when you see a width like that, you can pretty much assume that's probably multiple vortex tornado. So you see, tornadic damage, sometimes with nothing in the middle. So it's a lot of work to survey these storms. And so I didn't personally go down on any damage surveys, but I worked some overtime to let some other forecasters go out. So some forecasters picked up, we normally work 80 hours a week, and some of them picked up 100 hours of overtime, just working nonstop. So we got this quiet weather here, and they're they're taking some time off. But yeah, like she said, the Skywarn Talk group was just going nonstop, and I really it made me appreciate all the work that folks put into making it work, especially Michael Knight with getting the All-Star links going, and so people that don't have DMR can get on with their 2-meter rigs and get into the net. And the net controllers, man, they just worked a lot of long hours. It wasn't just the weather service. And, we all had stress, wondering just for our personal, our homes, you see these tornadoes coming at you. Just hope, like bullets shooting at you. Hope they miss you. But unfortunately, they're going to hit something eventually, and they did. And Wynn's going to be, recovering for years, as is Covington and Selmer. And we hit a number of smaller tornadoes too, totaled up to 14 just for that one event. And we had 6 the week before. We were kind of on a weekly cadence. Every Friday we had, tornadoes, and it just gets kind of old. But so hopefully we're in for a pattern change here in the Mid-South. So it looks like we'll have some thunderstorms this weekend, but doesn't look like they're going to be, anything like what we've been experiencing. But we just thank all the volunteers that pitched in to help communicate the threat. It's a team effort, and we just want to say thank you, and hopefully that's it for for quite a while. So.
Thank you so much for sharing about. I know we kind of put them on the spot, but we do appreciate that, and because I know a lot of times we get to kind of see what a couple of the folks do, but we don't really hear about them on the back end. So,
our pastor at our church is from Mississippi, and he was talking to one of the guys chasing the storms down there, and he said, I thought he'd be an adrenaline junkie and all that, but he said the guy was very serious. And he said, if I can help the weather people get out a warning and save one life, it's all worth it. So,
yeah, I was a warning forecaster on the Amory tornado, and I tell you, it was heartening to hear that people took shelter, based on the warnings, and the signature of that storm was so strong. We were seeing debris, getting up to 16,000 feet in the air.
Wow.
On the wind tornadoes, 20,000 feet. So the threshold for tornado emergency is we need. There's a lot of different thresholds. We need the 70 knots of rotation for the mesocyclone, but we need the debris to get up to, I think it's 9,500 feet, 95 or 9,800. So when you get up to 16,000 or 20,000 feet, that's pretty extreme. So when we upgrade the tornado warnings with the tornado emergency, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing debris aloft. It's already churning up, throwing debris up to 2, 3, 4 miles up in the air. So, yeah, pretty serious stuff. And I also want to mention, even when we don't have the nets formally activated, I try to, when we do have a little bit of weather in the office, in our county warning area, I will have my radio on, just kind of listening in. So even if there's no formal net, not every forecaster is going to do this, but you can still, if you're on the talk group or if you're on an All-Star Connected repeater to the talk group, feel free to kind of ask a question or say, give your call sign and maybe just, ask, something going to happen tonight or maybe if you have something to report and someone might be listening, just, hopefully we can, have more people at the office kind of monitoring on these marginal load events. Sometimes we just assume nothing's, as forecasters, we're going to be okay tonight, just general thunder, but it may not be that obvious to folks, if you've not been paying attention to the weather. You might be wondering. So I just want to throw that out there too.
I have a question. Is there anybody in the room that wants to be on the DMR channel and can't get to it because of the difficulty or something's just in your way? Well, there are people here that need to talk to, trying to get on digital, or trying to figure it out. And there's some things that you do need to kind of be educated on, but sometimes getting into the analog stuff it can be kind of a challenge to hear you. So your best bet, if you are going to be on that, is to get on digital if you can do it. It's just cleaner. And another thing I may mention too, to other hams that are kind of technical, you can get involved and help other areas get little repeaters set up. That's probably one of the best things that you can do. That's what we did up in Blytheville. And now that whole area, that Boot Hill area up there, it's so flat up there that they got pretty good coverage. But they can at least get in. But the whole key is getting on a digital thing, getting on DMR. So if you want to do that and you don't know how, you can ask me. I think there's other folks in here too that know how. Ask somebody. I would hope that nobody would say, man, I really would have got on the WeatherNet to help, but I just didn't know how to do DMR. So don't
anybody program a DMR radio?
So ask one of those guys.
I see 4 hands. Oh, good. I need to get mine programmed.
Well, that's a great point. I know, and I've told this to a few of you guys, but I bought a DMR handheld, a pretty good one, well over a year ago, and it sat there, and I tried to fiddle with it and program it manually, and I couldn't get on anything, and then it sat there for a while, and then I was like, well, let me boot up all these computer systems and tried, and didn't get anywhere, and it literally took I went over with Ian and Sylvia, K4OEK, and he walked me through everything, like the software, what everything was, and so now I've been sitting here programming everything, and it clicks. So, there were a bunch of hands that raised, and whether it's DMR, whether it's analog, if there's something that you're not sure, especially now that we're meeting in person and everything again, come ask any of us. If you have any issues ham related, come up front and say, hey, I have this issue, and we'll help pair you up with somebody who is experienced and can help you with that. So that's kind of I don't know, it seems like it's the foundation of ham radio, is everybody helping each other out and getting paired up with an Elmer. So that's a good point. If you want to do something and you're getting the equipment, or you want to know what equipment to get, ask around and somebody will be able to help you out. So good point.
Thank you. You're my crosshairs.
I have a lot of help.
Thank you.
We are going to take a break in a minute. Does anybody have any other announcements or anything they'd like to share before we take a break?
Tell everybody to sign in.
Oh, I am.
There was an email floating around for October, what's the group in Mississippi?
14th, there's a brochure right there.
Does anybody know more about this, or?
Yeah. A Day in the Park is sponsored by the Mississippi section. It'll be in Olive Branch at the Olive Branch Park on October 14th from 9 to 3. This event occurred, the Mississippi section sets this up, local clubs in and around Mississippi. Olive Branch and Cara did it in 2018, and Malcolm Keogh, the Mississippi section manager, asked them if they would do it again, and they're putting it together. It should be a great event. It's like a mini ham fest, or it is a ham fest, because they have door prizes. They get manufacturers to send door prizes and stuff. And in 18, it was a great event. Had great weather, and I think it helped bring Olive Branch and CARA together a little bit better than they had in the past.
So there's if you're interested in that, you can come up here. There's 2 flyers, so you can take a picture of it, or if you aren't able to do that, you can probably take one.
Did you put the link? There's a link to the brochure in April Sparks'
In announcements.
Yeah.
So something else, we don't have any new information, but Field Day is coming up faster than we realized. It's the last full weekend in June, and so I'm sure we'll be doing something.
It's the 4th weekend in June.
Fourth weekend in June. And so we'll have some more information announced as we get closer, but don't forget, if you haven't already, those dates are in Sparks, or you could write it down now, the 4th full weekend in June. And I'm sure we'll be doing something with Neshoba and Mara as well. So keep a lookout for that information. So before, yes.
High school treasury report.
Wow. I make a motion we accept
Thank you.
the minutes and the treasury report is published in Spark.
All right, so Ham made a motion to accept. Thank you. Ham made a motion to accept the minutes, the secretary's minutes, and the treasurer's report as published in Sparks. I saw Dan, KN4FBJ, with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, likewise? All right, the motion unanimously passes. So the program tonight is, Ham is going to tell us all about an introduction into Mars. There's a couple events, or there's at least one big event coming up, but he's going to tell us what exactly Mars is and all that. I know I'm looking forward to learning more about it.
And it's not the red planet, guys.
Before we take while we're taking a break, again, don't forget we've got the tickets. If you haven't filled out one ticket, fill out one ticket over there in the corner. We've got members and guest sign-up sheets, and then also Paul has gone through and printed out some handouts. So if it's been a while since you've gotten a copy of the frequency list and the repeaters in the area. And then there's even a handout over there that's got a lot of the repeaters in this whole region, it looks like. Even New Orleans and Little Rock, there's one of those sheets over there too. So if you haven't already, check out those handouts. And then we will take a break for 10 minutes.
One thing, I apologize for the double emails on the Sparks newsletter. Because the first one had March in it, and the second one has the April Sparks newsletter, if you didn't notice it.
And we appreciate you guys choosing to cover the April date and the March date, well, thank you, Joe, for sending those out as well. All right, so we'll take a break for 10 minutes and then have our program.